All right, so a lot of you have been asking about this, and we're finally going to do a deep dive into all the tech that's making this nomad life,
Yeah.
this whole work remotely while you travel thing, not just possible, but like actually amazing. And we've got a whole stack of articles and research right here ready to like really unpack what matters to you. Yeah, and it's interesting, like, it used to be just about like, could you work remotely or not? Like, was it possible? And now it's like, okay, how can we do this seamlessly? How
Yeah.
can we do it like super efficiently and productively? Maybe even from a beach hammock. Exactly. Like, how can we make this dream a reality? And so we'll be looking at portable internet solutions because that's obviously key. All the AI tools that everybody's talking about these days, cybersecurity essentials. Because let's face it, that cafe Wi-Fi is not always so secure.
Hmm.
And then all the smart travel gear that can make life easier, and even how tech is like changing co-living spaces.
Yeah, I mean, it's really like a fundamental shift, in how and where work happens.
Right. And so first up, let's talk about internet access because, I mean, that's the foundation of it all, right? And we've got articles here about Starlink, which is using satellites, and then there's all these pocket Wi-Fi hotspots. So for someone who wants to work from, say, like a national park, what are the trade-offs? Like, how do you choose?
That is the question, right? Like that's what it all comes down to. And Starlink is promising this like crazy coverage, even in super remote areas, but it's still rolling out globally, and it's not exactly cheap, right? So a hotspot might be more affordable. It's definitely more portable, but then you're relying on those cellular networks, so coverage can be a little bit spotty.
Yeah.
It really comes down to like, what's your travel style? How often are you going to be off grid? What's your budget look like?
Yeah, there's no like magic bullet solution there. It depends on your needs.
Exactly.
Okay, so moving on to AI tools. I'll admit I'm both like excited and kind of intimidated by this stuff at the same time. But how are nomads actually using AI to be more productive beyond just like the coolness factor?
Yeah. So imagine like you're hopping between time zones, right? And you're trying to schedule a meeting with like a bunch of people instead of this endless back and forth email chain. An AI tool can actually like analyze everyone's calendars and find that perfect slot.
Oh, wow.
And there are tools like Calendly that are already doing this, or picture like you just had this amazing day exploring a new city, but now you're tired, you need to write a blog post about it. AI writing assistants like Jasper can help you like overcome writer's block and create the super compelling content, even when you're just like brain fried.
So it's not like replacing the human. It's more like augmenting the human.
Yeah, like a super powered assistant.
I like that.
Right.
Now, before we get too carried away and start planning our like, AI-powered nomadic empires, we got to talk about cybersecurity. I'm picturing myself in a cafe sipping my coffee, working on something super important, and then bam, someone hacks my connection. Not cool.
Yeah, that's a real risk, especially when you're on public Wi-Fi. So VPNs, those virtual private networks are like essential, right? They're like a cloaking device for your internet traffic. They make it way harder for like snoopers to see what you're doing. You've got NordVPN, ExpressVPN, there's a ton of options. And then for like super sensitive communication, you want to be using encrypted messaging apps like Signal.
Okay, that makes me feel like a little bit safer already. So let's talk about gear. This is where I get like gadget geeky. One article was raving about noise canceling headphones for like focused work, which I totally get. But then there's smart luggage that tells you its location, solar powered chargers. Is this stuff like actually necessary, or is it just like fun extras?
It's about finding what works for your workflow and your travel style. If you're in a crowded hostel, those noise canceling headphones are like a lifesaver. But if you're going off grid for like a week, that solar charger is going to be essential. So think about like, what are your biggest pain points as a traveler, and then look for tech that solves those specific problems.
All right, so if you're always forgetting to charge your devices, that portable power bank becomes like less of a nice to have and more of a necessity.
Totally.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk about co-living. This has always sounded intriguing to me, but maybe a little lonely. Like, how is tech changing that?
So tech is actually like fostering connection in these spaces. Imagine a co-living space with like built-in community platforms so you can connect with other nomads based on your interests or your skills. Some of them even have like virtual reality meeting rooms, which is kind of blurring the lines between like physical and digital interaction.
So it's not just about having like a cool place to stay. It's about building a community, even if you're constantly on the move.
Exactly.
Wow. I'm seeing the nomad life in a whole new light after this deep dive. It's not just about escaping the office. It's about leveraging technology to create this lifestyle that's both productive and fulfilling.
Yeah, and I think the key takeaway is that this nomad life, it's evolving, it's becoming more accessible, it's becoming more connected, and frankly, it's becoming way more exciting.
Absolutely. So with all these amazing tools and possibilities out there, where would you choose to work from? maybe that beach hammock isn't such a far-fetched idea after all. Thanks for diving in with us,
Thanks for having me.
and we'll catch you in the next one.